What's good with the people? Happy Sunday. Let's talk. Let's talk real quick. Came across um, rappers that did not have classic albums, right? And one of those names that came out of there was Black Thought. And I had to sit back, right? Ludacris was on that list. Busta Rhymes was on that list. Grant Booba was on that list. Cannabis was on that list. They even had Andre 3000 on that list. And it made me think, right? It made me think. I said, Fabulous was on the list, right? And it made me think for a second, right? It made me think, Andre 3000? For real? Andre 3000? Andre 3000, Love Below is a classic album. Love Below is a classic album, okay? And if that's the case, why isn't Big Boy out there and tell me what classic albums Big Boy has? Right? Please tell me. When it comes to this, you know what I'm saying? This hip hop form, I would love to know what classic albums the Big Boy have. Okay? Now, Fabulous, Fabulous doesn't have a classic album. He has a lot of hits. Yes, true indeed, but he doesn't have a classic album, right? We heard 50 Cent say Fabulous has moments, but he does not have a classic album. Jadakiss does not have a classic album. Okay, um, and anybody that knows that I was fucking with the Locks back in the '90s. Okay, so I fuck with the Locks. Fuck with the Locks. Okay, but as we think about it, right? What makes it? Some people say Jadakiss' first album is a classic. Some people say the album that he had with the Letter to Big, right? But he does not have any classic album. His run to me is kind of like Fabulous run. Good ass songs and good ass moments, right? Well, when it comes to Black Thought, I have to sit back and be like, technically, right? My own opinion, and I still listen to this album to this day. You know what I'm saying? Um, Black Thought and Madlib, like that album is that album is fucking timeless. Shout out to Madlib who also just produced the Gnarls Barkley album. Listen to the lyrics. Listen to the lyrics on there. Listen to the lyrics. Okay, listen to the lyric. Listen to the beats. That is my my opinion. To me, he has two because Streams of Thought Volume 2 is what 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 I don't yeah I don't understand Black Thought by far. Right now, I know we're not talking about his lyricism. This has something to do with albums. The lyricism is there. But how can you not? Have y'all heard the albums? Come on, bro. Come on, man. Like, in there, what about Corrupt? Do Corrupt has a classic album? Right? there's a couple of artists that I was thinking like, you know, when, and we know, what makes a classic album, right? Some are going to say that Illmatic is one of the greatest piece pieces of art that they've heard from Nas, right? Some might say the N album. Some might say it was written, right? However, what defines a classic album is the moment that it comes out in, the time that it comes out in, the fact that everybody sits up. Does BG have a classic album? Just saying, does BG have a classic album? There's certain artists that I would like to throw out there because their top 10, I think, was a little bit biased to it, you know what I'm saying? Does BG have a classic album? Like, when I was less, I was. I'm not gonna say BG has a classic album. Of course, we know Juvenile has a classic album. Wayne has a classic album, but I don't see BG. Turk doesn't have a classic album. Okay, would you consider Big Timers? C Murder got a classic album. Silk has a classic album. Master P, the album that everybody know him for is, of course, Ghetto D, right? But if we're going to examine it, let's examine it. How many artists that we know today that has classic albums, right? Very interesting. You know what I'm saying? I'm Yeah, I do. Gonna have a classic album, right? Hey, look, if we gonna go down the list, let's go down the list. Does Chris Brown have a classic album? And I know those are R&B. You know what I'm saying? Kevin Gates got a classic album. Like, so there's a whole lot of artists that I feel like they just tell me the last classic album that it came out. Does Wiz Khalifa have a classic album? Does Currency have a classic album? I want to know. I want to know. Because, like I said, I don't like, I didn't like the fact that Black Thought was included in that. When I was looking at all the, there's a lot of artists that put out more albums than Black Thought. I'm just saying. So, yeah, very interesting. You know what I'm saying? Ludacris. Um, which I was even thinking, when it came to the Ludacris situation, I was thinking, I was like, damn, chicken and beer. It made it real interesting because I thought Nelly's first album Nelly, excuse me. We know Nelly, of course, Country Grammar, classic album, right? But as far as Ludacris, Ti, what Ti would be Urban Legends, right? His first album, I don't consider is a classic album. I'm serious. I don't think that's a classic album. I think the album is nice, but I don't think it's a classic album. What album? You know what I'm saying? Does Future have a classic album? Um, yeah, I. Of course, we know the Kanye would be College Dropout. Yeah, there's a lot of artists that I feel that comes short to that. You know what I'm saying? To making classic albums. You know, um, Conway, West Side Gun, Benny the Butcher. Hold on, let's see. I'm just going through my little list real quick to see what they, who would. J. Cole got a classic album. Well, yeah, I'd say Born Center. Huh? Would you consider Born Center classic album? What about Ja Rule? Ja Rule got a classic album, right? Jeezy. What y'all think about Jeezy? Does Rick Ross have a classic album? You know what I'm saying? Does Rick Ross have a classic album? Port of Miami is nice. I don't think it's a classic. God Forgives I don't. It's nice. I don't think it's a classic. I definitely don't think Ross has a classic album. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot. That standard is just not there. To me, there's a lot of rappers that don't have classic albums. Okay? There's a lot of rappers that don't have classic albums. So, but with like I said, with Black Thought, Andre 3000, that was a little bit, I don't know. I don't know. And this is more so I am defending Black Thought's two albums because I'm going to say Madlib and Streams of Thought Volume 2 to me are classic albums. Okay, that's to me that's a classic album. I don't know what else to sit up here and to say. I believe that's a classic album. Lyrics, okay, conception, just the single along. Y'all heard, man, come on, bro. Come on, bro. I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like that. Conceptions is dope as hell. I remember when that song first came out. It came out at the end of 2017. I told my father that was going to be the best song of the year. To be with the best song 27 2017 when he came out, and he came out at the end. Like I said, conceptions. Come on, bro. Come on, bro. Nah, I disagree with Black Thought, and I disagree with Andre 3000. I do. I disagree with it. I disagree with it. Just disagree. Disagree that Andre 3000 and Black Thought, um, they have classic albums. They have classic albums. Okay? Put it in the comments. Please hit the like button. Okay? And look, we give everything on this channel. Okay? We're going to give hip hop, hip hop news. We gonna give some different outlooks. We gonna give some sports shit. We gonna do everything. All right, I'm out. Peace.